Welcome back, dweebs. I guess this is technically the weekly dweeb this week, right? With me, as always, is my good friend Kev. Kev, we are reviewing the Fantastic Four First Steps tonight. How are you doing, my friend?
Ooh, well, the first steps of my week were just fantastic, James. Loving life on a Monday. Just can't wait. I mean, this will be a fun episode. I do so enjoy doing these live shows where we do have kind of just the one thing to focus on. And this one's going to be a real mixed bag for me, just as a heads up. So I don't know if I'll be able to sway Headbug or anyone else in the audience one way or another, because I myself am a bit conflicted, and I'm at the very least excited to share all of that with you and see what, James, you and I have also had no
interaction
about our thoughts on the movie pre-show. Yep. So that's always fun too. But I'm locked and loaded, sir. I'm ready to go. How are you doing on this Monday?
I think very similar to you. I had a Monday. This fucking Monday from hell. But man, yeah, it's good. As Kev said, we do not talk before we do these. It's very on purpose. So not to skew the other one's comment or thoughts and comments and concerns, because a lot of the times me and Kev are in very different camps on these. So we like to leave it as such. Before we get into it, Kev, let's shout out all the new subscribers. We're up to 178 now, which is great. Shout out all the people checking out the weekly dweeb content. We may have one more segment this week, but we're locked and loaded and using this as it for this week. Shout out your Clayface video, Kev. 346 views as of today. People love Clayface, apparently. I had no fucking clue. I had no idea.
Let's go, dude. Hey, I don't know, James. That could be bad for my brand. The one time I make a video where I'm basically just positive the whole time.
Oh, no curmudgeon in that. Kev, not curmudgeon Kev in that one.
What are we doing, gang? What's happening over here?
What the fuck? Headbug says Marvel hasn't been able to sway me thus far, so I'm not expecting much. I think that's a good starting point. As everyone knows, Marvel has fallen on quite hard times. Has not had I would argue, great movie since I think the last Spider-Man's great. Kev thinks it's bullshit and the ending's bullshit and et cetera, so he doesn't like it. So if you really want to go farther back, you got to get to Endgame, which was quite some time ago. A lot of misfires in the TV realm. Movies, it's not been good out there. So this is an important one because, as we talked about last week, you can watch, might have been 2 weeks ago, you can watch it without any prior viewing on stuff. It's just kind of a fresh take. What up, Jen? Jen loves it. So, Kev, I'm going to let you start. Overall thoughts.
Okay, so while we may still be in the spoiler-free territory, I will just give everyone that spoiler warning now. Here in a couple of minutes, we will get into everything, because I really can't talk about my thoughts with any depth without talking about not only what we saw, but also the little bit of information that we have about what was left on the cutting room floor. So we will be getting full on into the nitty gritty of spoiling this bad boy. So in order to provide any value to those of you who don't want to have it spoiled, I will say this. Overall, I think I liked more of it. There's a lot that I liked about it more than the things that I disliked. I think I
Mhm.
said that about Superman as well. I'll to kind of use that as a barometer. I liked Superman more. So I'll say that quickly. I did
I would.
appreciate
So I will
Superman.
also
I had more
second that.
fun watching Superman.
I will second that. I thought Superman was better.
Okay, yeah, so we're on the same page so far. It'll be fun to see where we branch off, but generally speaking, I will say this. I didn't have as much fun with that movie as I thought I could have. There are certain elements of it that I think are phenomenal. I think they have certain sequences that are pretty close to peak Marvel, or at least some of the best Marvel stuff I've seen in a while. But that is not without its usual Marvel studio issues as well. Not the least of which being the runtime. This felt like, to me, a good fifth of this movie did not make it to theaters, and that seems to be a very strict
Well, okay,
policy
yeah.
as that says you're not running it past 2 hours, pal, unless it is
I would
unless
agree with
it's
that.
an Avengers movie. It cannot be longer than 2 hours.
Seemed like something was missing. I would agree with that. Uh, I would agree with you. I think I definitely like Superman more. I do think this is the best Marvel movie in a while, and since that I can remember, I will state I don't consider Deadpool and Wolverine part, like it's part of the, like I guess technically part of the MCU, but I don't, for reviewers' sake, I don't consider that one.
Fair.
Like that, and keep that one out. I would, yeah. These are interesting things. I can't wait to talk about. Headbug says, "Wasn't this the shortest Marvel film to be released so far?" Uh, I don't know for sure, but it fucking felt like it. We'll look that up real quick. Yeah, it's good. I enjoyed it. I think it's cast well. I think they do some odd things.
Yeah.
But yeah, if I don't even know what to give it. Like, I would recommend seeing it. There's my, I guess, Headbug. If you're trying to decide if you want to go see it, go. It's worth seeing.
I probably sitting here today, I'd say it's probably like around a 7 out of 10 for me, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
I sometimes I feel like a just broken clock when it comes to my feedback on anything that's under the Disney umbrella. There were moments of pacing, not only, and it wasn't even a consistent. The issue itself wasn't consistent. There were times in the early going where, to me, it felt like the pacing was a little slow, and then there were moments that I thought it would have benefited the movie to allow the tension to build, and those things get resolved in like 10 minutes. You're like, well, that was a great subplot that is nice and tidied up now. So yeah, it's not without its flaws, but I will say this. I think I can say this without getting too deep into spoiler territory, be it spoilery at all. Despite me walking away thinking that wasn't the most fun I've had in the theater, especially not this summer, I couldn't help but think that I want to see this movie succeed, because this movie did so much of what I have been asking the MCU to do. So even though it didn't strike a particular chord with me all the way through, I need more of this, not less of this. And those big suits upstairs only understand numbers. And so I am hoping that this is viewed well in the eyes of the critics, and that it makes enough financially, because I think this is more along the right track of what I would like to see from this universe.
Self-contained story that will probably have some overarching impact, but you can watch it. And I don't think there's any, I guess I don't want to say that just yet. Yeah, Headbug, I'd see it if you got it for free, you thief. Go watch it. Do we want to go, Kev? Spoilers here, shall we? We're 10 minutes in.
Yeah, I think probably fair enough to do that.
Yeah, so we are going full spoilers in about 10 seconds here when it hits this 10-minute mark. So if you don't want to know any spoilers, come back later. But our recommendation is go see it roughly in the 7 out of 10 realm. So Kev, I guess where do you want to start? There's a let's start. Let's just do this. Let's start with the actual Fantastic Four. Let's start with the team. I want to get your take on them. My thought is, I think they're well cast. Pedro Pascal, and we're going to hear this a lot from a lot of people, and it doesn't really bother me, is that he's in too much now, and he's just himself. And right, as a Game of Throneser, I was there when he burst onto the scene. I'm here for him. I was okay with his portrayal of Reed Richards' character for Sue Richards. Well, I personally think Johnny Storm and The Thing are the best two parts of that team. They are my favorite.
That's the best Johnny. Yes,
he's awesome. Yeah, and that is Stranger Things. What is his name? He is awesome.
I just know the character's name is Eddie, isn't it? He's the
yes.
This is music.
Joseph Quinn. Yeah, he's Eddie in the Stranger Things. That's how he got this role.
Yeah, I mean, he did not disappoint. As soon as I saw him, it clicked in the trailer. I was like, oh, this dude, I know it's only one role I'm basing this on, but even just rearranging like some of the energy that he has as that character in Stranger Things is like, oh, this dude's going to be a great Johnny Storm. He's going to be so good at this role. And what I loved about their dynamic with Ben, and this was something that despite the short runtime, and I think the movie could have done a better job of it, but they did better than previous Fantastic Four movies, like to show how close these people are. So many movies you have like the prank war where Johnny's just constantly fucking with Ben and just kind of treating him like shit and doing all these pranks and stuff. And I like that these guys, like, sometimes it gets lost in the sauce that they're really close friends and that they do genuinely love each other. And Johnny's not just some teenage shithead all the time. So I really enjoyed the dynamic of the Fantastic Four. I agree with you. I thought it was well cast. There was nobody that I would point to and say, oh, they weren't pulling their weight. If the only thing I would say is there is a Ben Grimm subplot that got left unresolved. One of what I believe to be the many victims of that cutting room floor that just felt that like, one. Oh, you have a good Ben Grimm and like, you know what you're doing with him. And then you just leave me hanging.
That is so, no, that one is odd. She's a school teacher, right? That when he's messing around with the kids early in the movie, and then it's just not touched again until they're moving everybody underground. And then that's late. That's almost at the end of the movie. Yeah, I would agree.
I can't wait for the sequel when she's married to Mole Man and we have like a forbidden will they, won't they with Ben and the Mole Man.
Yeah, it is. That was it's just odd to leave that there and not follow that up. And I think you're right. It felt like it probably got cut because the movie was too long. But yeah, you're right. They knew what they were doing with him. Like, Ben's awesome. Johnny's awesome. Like, they knew what they were doing with him. And to leave that just felt just weird. Like, you could have, like, you didn't have to do it. Like, you really wouldn't have changed much had you left. You could have changed the car scene and just left her out of it where he's showing off to the kids, right?
Or, I mean, I would go the other way. What's it take 20 seconds for a dude to ask a girl out on camera? Like, just resolve the damn story.
Yeah.
Because I think it was needed. I think there were so few moments of our characters just being themselves. And there was a lot of them dealing with the crisis and everybody being stressed out that was Ben's save the cat scene, for lack of a better term. And it showed like, oh, hey, he's a good guy. He's taking care of the kids, all this stuff. So I think the scene needed to be there, in which case, like you said, either just cut the part where they talk, and I guess, he just plays with the kids and he moves on. But to me, it's just sort of, how had you shoehorned in that resolution that you weren't able to give us that on the way out? Just so it was a double-edged blade, because on the one hand, I'm like, hey, wow, this movie did a good job of getting us to care about characters without having us go
really just slamming it down our throat. No origin, like
boom, here you are.
They do a really good job. He does.
And that was one of the few misses. Because even Johnny, I'll stick with Johnny next, because the way that they decided to use the Silver Surfer, who, going back to the comics, that character is actually the wife of the original Silver Surfer, who in an alternate universe was the Surfer herself. But I feel like the whole reason they did that was so that Johnny would have the hots for her, and it would give him a reason early on to be just invested enough to pay a little extra attention, because they did establish that he's a genius. That the montage was a little ham-fisted too. I didn't hate it, but it was a little
Which one?
bulky. The early on montage where they do previously on Fantastic Four, and they're like, and Reed's like, well, I invited the smartest people alive. It just so happened that it's my wife, her sister, and my college roommate. And it's like, yeah, it doesn't sound any better when you say it out loud. But Johnny, like, they have this whole thing. So they established that he is a genius. He's not just some meathead idiot.
Yeah.
But also the main reason, there's two reasons that he is inspired to go after this. One, you see from the beginning, he's been dying to go back to space. He asks Reed about the prototype of the new ship. When he's listening to those alien sounds, he's staring longingly at the spaceship as if he can't wait to go back out there. And then, he meets a Silver Surfer lady that he's got the hots for. So next thing you know, she says a sentence that sounds familiar, and he's like, oh, I got to go back to these records and start listening.
Yep.
And he decided does this whole thing. And that was cool because it was somebody other than Reed figuring it out. But it actually made sense with the way that you set Johnny up, that it would be Johnny of all people to do that. And it didn't feel forced. It didn't feel convenient. Maybe not exceptionally convenient. It was a little bit convenient as I say it all out loud, but I've seen worse.
It fits within the story. And like you said, not just shoehorned in because we got to give Johnny something to do. He's got to do this. It makes sense within the context of what they built. Would agree with that. I also agree with your take on Ben. I think Ben's really good. I love the way they did. I love the design of him. I love what they did. I love you mentioned it, like there's a lot of jokes between him and Johnny, and they fight, they argue a lot. But they're on the same page. Like they are boys. They are really good friends. And there's just like little comments. It's later in the movie when they're cutting out the electricity, and he's giving it like he's making fun of his beard, or he's talking about it. He's like, it looks good on you, man. It kind of looks good. Just walks away type shit. Like, there's good moments with him.
It was nice. And even when he's ribbing him, it's simple things like, here's the toy from my cereal. It's not, I cream pied you in your sleep, which is a horrible way for me to have phrased that. But we're talking about the whipped cream.
Yeah, the paraphrasing was so bad. Somebody get us the old phrasing meme.
Whoopsies.
Whoops. Thoughts on the Silver Surfer? Oddly to me, yes, phrasing, Lana. There we go. That's what I was looking for. I was looking for the goat, the Archer meme, and I couldn't think of it. Not in the movie very much. And I guess short runtime, a lot of things like Silver Surfer is, and Galactus, really, there's major chunks of this movie where they're just not around.
Yeah, I mean, generally speaking, I don't mind that whatsoever. In fact, I encourage it. Less is more when it comes to those things. But I think what was missing was something else with a little gravitas to it. So the only action that we really get is through the montage of the CBS guy talking about what has happened over the last 4 years. He talks about peace with Mole Man. He talks about what's his name, the Red Ghost, and they show a couple of clips of them fighting the Red Ghost apes, but we don't actually see them accomplish anything in real time as a member of the audience up until they go to try to find Galactus. We see them do nothing. There are no stakes in anything. It's honestly gives me Once Upon a Time in Hollywood vibes. It's like 40 minutes of just characters being characters, and then we've got montages and heavy expositing dialogue. Like the very first scene in the bathroom, we've got Reed and Sue just explaining their last 2 years of trying to get pregnant. It was very weird, not great. But yeah, they have all of this stuff going on, and what we didn't get to see was them working as a team or anything. And what we find out is that there is approximately 10 minutes worth of a scene, including John Malkovich as the Red Ghost, who we did see in early teaser footage. Like,
yeah,
they
he was cut. He
marketed
was
him
cut out completely
as being a part of the film, and so that got cut. Obviously, based on what we've already talked about, we can kind of tell some other scenes got cut. And I think that it could be, I think those two things just kind of might go hand in hand, because honestly, I don't know how much more they could have shown Galactus and it done much, unless I guess because they already showed him destroying a planet. They get their real Star Wars vibes, like they pulled up on Alderaan right as Galactus was eating it. Crazy stuff. But yeah, but I agree that it felt like there was something missing, and that, this thing had really, really slow pacing. And then all of a sudden it was like 0 to 100. We got Galactus is here. And we go there, we come back, boom, bang, boom, bang, boom. There's a lot of stuff. How did you feel, though, I guess, about Galactus overall? Like, were you at least satisfied with how he was portrayed and all that good stuff?
So I got not necessarily spoiled, but right before I went, I don't know if I saw it on Twitter, I saw a tweet or something that says he was destroyed, right? And in my head, I was like, did they really fucking one-off Galactus? I was like, they've really botched villains, right? And I was like, did they really fucking want him off? Like, and that's it. So thankfully, I was like, okay, he's not off the table, which is great.
You got Kanged.
Yeah, I was like, did they Kang? Yeah, he's
almost
God
literally
knows where he is, but he's not toast. I don't know. So I don't know a ton about Galactus, so I didn't know how he ate planets or anything, or the whole deal with him. I thought he was good. I don't think he's a great villain by any means, but I mean, his whole shtick is he's got eternal hunger and he's just eating planets to try to get away from it, right? So it's kind of a weird,
more or less, yeah.
So I was fine with him. I thought he was portrayed well. I thought he kind of they didn't Kang him off. Yeah, I thought he was good. I had no problems with him at all. He fit the celestial vibe that they've developed, but also don't use at all. And his ship is quite wild, but it's very, like you said, it's got some Star Wars, almost a mix between the Death Star and the new Death Star thing they build in the new movies.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, he rides around in a Death Star. That would be my interpretation of it too, which would maybe be my only knock against Galactus, is that he's not really consuming any worlds. He's using a spaceship to blow them up. So it kind of...
So then he like gets him inserted into his back. It's kind of weird.
And when we see him, he's not that big, like the Statue of Liberty comes up to his waist. So it's kind of
when he's on Earth, he's not
eating planets. There's no shot.
It's like a little Galactus.
Meet the moon.
He's not full size Galactus yet.
Even if it were made out of cheese and he was hanging out with Harry Carey, he wouldn't be able to eat the moon. If it were made out of spare ribs, he wouldn't be able to eat it.
And let's also, his ship travels fucking deceivingly slow. He needs to get worked on that. Like, the Fantastic Four are fucking light speeding around the universe, and Galactus takes fucking feels like months to get around the moon, get around Saturn and Venus.
Why would you have your scout be that much faster than you? She's like, boss, I found the place you're going to eat in 20 years, because it's going to take your slow ass an eternity to get out there.
Terribly slow. The scene where they go see him's good, when he calls out Franklin and wants him to take his place.
The child hungers.
Yeah, that. I don't think any of my thoughts on Franklin have changed from... I still don't think they should have ruined that. Even though he's a major plot point of the whole movie, I still don't think you needed to show it in the trailers.
Yeah, I don't disagree. At the very least, it was like, it's the first thing they address.
It's right away. Like, it's so early.
I don't hate it as much as I did, but I do agree, because as comic fans would know, they have 2 kids. So again, until we come out and say it, like you can leave that door open where it's like, oh, maybe it's Franklin, maybe it's Val. I think I can't remember
Yeah, you could have
her
just
full long name, but it's like you could have just left it as a
pregnant.
questionable thing. But yeah, he is the entire linchpin of this, and it looks like they are going to at some point use him as the OP sort of Omega level mutant that he is.
Sure seems
So
that way, right?
that'll be interesting. Yeah, the one time I guess I have no choice but to forgive really ugly CGI is when you have to have a baby do what Franklin has to do there at the end. I guess you never could get a real baby to do that.
Yeah, you're kind of just you could do 10 million takes and never get that scene right.
I would love, honestly, I would pay a subscription fee, like HBO Max, whoever, I guess it's Disney if you're listening. I will pay you 1 year up front if you can send me the dailies of these guys, of Matt Shackman trying to film a literal baby doing that last scene. I would I feel like that's just comedic gold.
Yes.
Give me 30 minutes of that as its own behind the scenes. Watch these people try to get that baby to do exactly what they needed to do.
Right. Headbug asked if the baby was well cast. I would say yes. Good baby.
Great.
Good casting. Works well. I lost my train of thought there, but yeah, that last scene, Sue dying, and I guess that's part of that baby, right? Like that's the whole point, is like they've got this overpowered baby that they're freaking out about, that you've got a little, essentially a god chasing around wanting him to take his place, even though he's just born. And so that scene's kind of, there was never a moment where I thought she was toast. I'm like, no, they're going to use this to bring him back or bring her back. Franklin's going to bring her back. I think like they'll down the line in Secret Wars, like he's going to be incredibly important. And he's going to be like
I agree.
7 or 8.
So, spoiler alert for comics stuff, and help me out here, chat, if I'm a little off base on some of this because it's a little bit hazy. But some of this was parallel to Jonathan Hickman's Fantastic Four, where they also built bridges to parallel universes and stuff. And I believe, I think at that point, whether Doom used the power of the Beyonders to create Secret War, but I believe Hickman used the Fantastic Four and Franklin to when they sort of redid Secret Wars. But long story short, yes, the idea would be that Doom could use Franklin to sort of create Battle World, because we're talking about a kid who in the comics at one point is like, like we were playing our Game Boy under our blanket with that big ass magnifying glass and the light. Well, Franklin's down there creating universes from scratch and hiding it from his mom and dad under the blanket. So I think that sets up nicely to be like how they can get past Secret Wars and into or get into the Battle World situation of it all, if that's the route that they go.
I believe that is the route they will go. I think they'll use the more recent version of Secret Wars.
Yeah, dude, Franklin's a crazy character. At one point in the comics, a Celestial kills Galactus and Franklin revives Galactus and then makes Galactus his herald. So like that's how we're talking. Like it doesn't get much stronger than Franklin Richards, which is one of the reasons I didn't think they needed to establish his powers this early. Because in the comics, what Jack and Stan did for the longest, they didn't talk about it for years. I think it took them almost a year of the baby being born before they finally decided to tell everybody what its name was, because they were like, well, is it a boy, is it a girl, we don't know, we're gonna wait till we figure it out, and it'll just be baby in the meantime. And I thought they really could have, in a film that one of its best parts for me was the attention to detail and just sort of how it really felt like a Fantastic Four story. And you go into Jack Kirby having been like somebody who's doing romance and giant monster stuff before he came on to Marvel. And so you have all those little elements mixed in. So for a movie that otherwise did a great job of kind of sticking to a lot of those established beats from the original run, I would have liked to have seen them play Franklin a little closer to the vest, to be honest, James. So I think we're in agreement there.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I wish they would have kept it. Like, as soon as they mentioned Franklin's name, everybody knows, right? But you keep it a little more under wraps. But as soon as they put Sue Storm in that scenario, like, there's only one way to save her, and so you have to go that route. And he has to save her. That's it. Period. So I'm with you. I would have held it back a little bit more, but because I think you could have done it without even showing his powers, because he's getting chased by Galactus around the universe, right? Like, Galactus is coming to Earth, is 828, I think, to get him. You don't need to do any more than that. Like, you don't have to show anything. You can even, spoilers for the post-credit, like, very brief flash of Doom at the end, right? At the end, the post-credit, seeing him, like, even that pushes more in that direction, right? You don't necessarily have to have him save Sue, but because they went that route, like, there was nobody else. Like, she was done. It's over. She was dead. And now we've got a baby that can bring people back to life.
Yeah, which is great. I mean, the one thing you should definitely do when it's like it's about the fourth time in the last 30 years that you're trying to resurrect the first family of comic book movies, I think one of the best ideas, James, is to immediately undercut that family's abilities by having their infant son be the most powerful one of the group. I think that's a brilliant move. 10 out of 10. Very,
when you put it
very
that
smart.
way, yeah, bad news.
It's just like, guys, can we stop doing this? These are the parts when I said before, there's a lot more that I like about it. I'm happy with a lot of decisions that were made, but they just cannot avoid stepping into some of the same old
tropes,
time-tested Disney pitfalls. Yeah, definitely tropes, but they shouldn't be tropes because they're tropes of Disney missing the mark over and over again. Like, they shouldn't be tropes because these are mistakes when they happen.
Yes.
And so how it could happen multiple times is like, well, no, this shouldn't be cliche. It shouldn't be there in the first place. What are we doing?
Shouldn't have done it. Didn't need to show it.
Yeah, didn't hate the character. I just don't know. The second that this whole thing hedges, Galactus is here not just because he's an eternal being with an unquenchable thirst and he is fated by the gods themselves, by eternity, I think, in comics, like the dude with the space toes that Christian Bale prayed to, the one. That guy, gal, eternity, whichever, essentially cursed Galactus to this never-ending, insatiable hunger, and that's not enough on its own. It's like, oh no, it's about the child, it's about this infant baby. Like, we're like I hate to use this term, but I feel like the Fantastic Four got cucked in their own movie. And I don't understand why any of it was necessary. You don't need any of that for Galactus. Galactus being there is enough.
Good, he's big enough.
Of everything.
Silver Surfer and Galactus, you're good.
Nothing's bigger than family. If I expected Vin Diesel to be cast as the Thing. I'm like halfway. I was like, he's gonna come in through a portal and be like, "Yo, Galactus, nothing's more important than family." Because that's essentially the movie in a nutshell. Is Hell hath no fury like a mother. I will say that they like, if you love your mom and want to go take her to a movie, take her to this movie. Because it's like, dude, they love moms in this one. Silver Surfer is there because she's a dope mom and like sacrificed her life to go be the Herald and save her planet. Sue Storm saves the day mid contractions. Like, she hides an entire spaceship, makes the whole thing invisible while she's in the middle of giving birth. And then on top of that, has the fucking sauce to push once again an insatiable, eternal being capable of eating entire planets. She's able to push that dude into a portal with her mind because
Fuck him.
Nobody messes with Mama Bear, dude. Nobody
Yep.
goes after my kids. And so on one hand, I was
Don't
like,
fuck with Mama Bear.
I'm like, all right,
You'll
Mary
end
Sue
badly.
Storm. But on the other hand, I'm like, you know what? I can get behind this, dude. Hell yeah. Like, give us a movie where just the moms in the theater are clapping at the end. Like, hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Kick the shit's ass.
I had no problem with that for that reason. Same thing. Like, fuck, like, absolutely. Do not piss Mama Bear off. No eternal being has ever came after me, and my mom's gone after him, but I assume that's what would happen.
But that's exactly, I'm telling you, dude.
What would happen.
My mom also back in the day would have come up with a way to generate some kind of invisible force field to push someone into a portal. I bet. I have no doubts about it, dude. I've heard stories about moms lifting cars to save their babies. There's something.
Yeah.
There's something there, dude. Something to it. So between that, I mean, while we're talking about Sue, because I made the Mary Sue joke, there was one moment that really kind of broke things for me, and this is the other end of the pacing spectrum, James. When they come back from Galactus, right? The Herald shows up. Yep. You're all gonna die. They basically pull a Thanos. You know, Reed Richards has this idea. We're gonna track the Surfer's energy and figure out where she goes.
Yep.
Then we'll go to where she's posted up at. They get there. It's Galactus. Galactus is like, give me your baby. You know, he does his best fat bastard. He's like, you keep the money. I get your baby. And then they're like, crikey, no. All right. It's cheeky fat bastard. And then they fly home and they immediately have a press conference. And Reed just straight up tells them the truth, which blew my mind. I thought for sure. I'm so used to living in a corporate atmosphere that I expect him to talk about, you know, like, well, we tried to negotiate with Galactus, but we didn't have the right assets to make a deal. We're hoping to, you know, I didn't expect him to say, oh, yeah, they asked for our baby. And we said no.
Yeah, I was caught off guard by that. Like, I love the part where they came in and they're just shell shocked, right? Like, they just about all died. They had to zip around a black hole. They got the Silver Surfer stuck and they're just shell shocked. But I couldn't believe he's like, they asked for my kid. And we said no. I thought that I was like, okay. I mean, okay. Like you said, no more suit here. There's no corporate Fantastic Four right there. They are just fucked up.
It is done. And naturally, the whole world turns on them at that point. Because, I mean,
that felt so real world to me. Like, I got to say, that whole, like, next, like, 10 minutes where the whole world turns on them, shows up at their house, and is like fucking throwing tomatoes at their door and shit. And the social media is kind of like, that feels so real world to me. Like, not in a good way at all, but I'm like, that's exactly what would fucking happen too. Because the fucking world's crazy.
100%, which is what makes the next part a little weird. And it threw me off at first when Sue takes her infant baby out into the mob. Now, granted, she can do the whole force field deal, so the child is not in any danger whatsoever. But still, the idea that one warm-hearted speech about he's my family and all of you, you're all my family, and we just love each other, and then they're just like, yeah, okay. Yeah, they are the Fantastic Four guys.
It's different on that Earth, man. They love them.
Maybe they'll figure it out.
America's team over there. It's America's team. That's the Cowboys in the 90s.
Yeah, I was just like, okay. But I will give her credit. Like, the speech I thought was like, it was good enough. Like, she did it well. She did her job well. And by the end of the scene, by the time she was done talking, I was back in. You know, I had resuspended my disbelief. But I was like, dude, yeah, right. Somebody throw a tomato can at your face. Like, shit would have just been bouncing off of her shield. You know, she'd have had a full-on force field because shit with like empty.
Yeah, I'd have just been like, okay, cans. You idiots.
Like, shut up. But that was what I was talking about before when I said a really interesting dynamic, something to me that I thought was tension that maybe could have built longer. No, it was solved overnight. And I think in the next scene, she's calling London and Brazil and saying, hey, guys, everybody, not only do you all have to turn off all of your electricity when we say so, which was the least believable thing of this entire movie, was the
Yeah, like
idea that,
no, yeah, no way, no fucking chance there was that happening.
bro, it's like, I know y'all lived through 2020. You honestly think people are going to turn their lights off at 8 p.m. for you? No shot, dude. I got a bunch of TikToks to show you, my guy. And so they go from the whole world hates you to the whole world is working with you, and we're all going to build our own little portals over here. I forgot to mention Sue Storm runs the United Nations in this movie too. Like, that's just part of the montage. They're like, oh yeah,
Yeah,
the Future
she's yeah,
Foundation is the UN and she's the
yep.
boss, and no one could come to peace with Mole Man except for Sue Storm. We're just like, I mean, I get it, like she is dope, but damn, like she didn't there this character, she was almost the Captain America of this film. The one character that
Kind of, yeah.
wasn't going to grow, but I guess her not growing was kind of the point. She didn't really have anywhere to grow to. She was the emotional centerpiece.
Yeah,
You know, Reed is the
yep.
brains, but she is the heart of the Fantastic Four, which works for me. Because if anybody doesn't know, I mean, she's the leader. She's the real boss. It's been that way for like 60 years now, I think, at this point.
Yeah.
Dude. Like she's been captain of the squad, so I'm not upset about any of it. I just thought that a lot of times, James, what is so fulfilling about watching these hero movies is to see them overcome adversity. And it's just like, well, like she's like Snoop Dogg. She's out here doing side quests, dude. She's brought the whole world to peace. You know, she's a politician, famous person, and a superhero, and also one of the 4 smartest people alive. It's like, damn, dude, can she like please tell me she can't knit or something. Can we at least they had Herbie cook? Because if Sue was also busting out, I was just like, dude, come on, man. Herbie was awesome.
Herbie's awesome.
I love to see him get his just due. Herbie at one point a fill-in in the cartoon for Johnny. Did you know this, James?
I did not know that, really.
Yeah. I think it was like, it might have been a late 70s run. The film rights to Johnny Storm were pending. They were up in the air. They thought they were going to get a movie made. So a cartoon got greenlit, but they could not use the Human Torch. And so Herbie was created as their little robot friend to replace Johnny in that cartoon run. So
I had no idea.
Kind of cool to have him.
The more you know.
Also, a practical effect. They had like a wooden cardboard Herbie, and they also had one that was on a little RC remote car engine that would move around. But that was a practical effect. Obviously enhanced by CGI, but that was so cool. I never would have guessed.
He looks awesome. Yeah. Shout out Herbie. Just out there making pasta for him.
Dude, yeah. Herbie was that guy, man. I guess to poke a hole or to counter one of my previous points, James, because I want to know what your thoughts were on this. One of the things I loved about this story that I think they got right, every plan that these people come up with, including the one that got them their powers, goes wrong. Like everything they try to do does not go according to plan. And to me, I was like, oh, this is some good writing right here. You know, I was slapping the guy next to me in the theater. It's like, hey, bro,
they don't know what they're doing.
They can do it. Look at this. Who's this Shackman guy? What's he been up to?
Yeah, I thought he did. I do like everything just goes, oh, we got this. Nope, that didn't work. We'll transform. Nope. They're gonna break them all.
Yeah,
we'll move the baby. He'll never notice. He notices.
Yeah, we'll just spit in Galactus's eye, and he won't notice that we did the old switcheroo. Also, yeah, Silver Surfer saved them from themselves.
Yes.
Has no one seen the Cloverfield paradox? I wouldn't blame you if you hadn't. But yeah, nothing good happens when you move Earth into a different universe, or even when you yourself move.
Well, they thought about it. They were about to test the waters of moving Earth.
Dude. Well, you know, we moved an egg across the desk, so naturally we can
move Earth across
just move Earth. What's the Goldilocks zone? Come on, Reed.
You don't know where you're gonna end up. You might end up in fucking the sequel trilogy of the Star Wars movies. You do not want to be there, Reed.
You're gonna just find another Jupiter out there. You're gonna find another asteroid magnet,
another moon. No, Reed. Bad idea. Bad idea.
read.
I do hope they bring Galactus back. Like when they bring him back and he's like missing a leg or something, like he got all fucked up in the transport and is just pissed off all to holy hell.
That's an interesting topic because I don't know what they can or would do with Galactus at this point. That was sort of, I shouldn't say my one knock, but that was on my list of things I could have done without. Was like the downside to bringing Galactus out in the first Fantastic Four movie is now you've defeated one of their greater threats. Now, I wouldn't have to say that if you hadn't already pissed Kang out down the drain, but you did. And you're using Doom for everybody. So let's just it's like you have a Mount Rushmore of Fantastic Four villains, and everybody else gets to use all of them.
Yeah. Because if you look at the upcoming slate, it's like, where would you bring him back? Because there is no second Fantastic Four movie on deck right now. I'm sure there will be, but by the time you get to it, Doomsday will have happened, which is Secret Wars.
And
everything's gonna be changed.
With all due respect, how big of a threat is he to the Avengers when 120-pound woman and her three best friends can beat him?
Exactly.
Well,
they've done this a lot where they bring these hammer characters out and then just beat them in one movie, and they're beat by a single group, and it's like, well,
the parallels to Ant-Man are funny.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just going to say
these people are ant-sized, and Kang got taken down by literal ants. Galactus calls them bugs a few different times. And again, it was a weird one because I know Sue Storm is a badass. And I'm not sitting here saying that I didn't want that.
He's their greatest, of their greatest foes, and you're limited on what you can use, on who you can use, because you, like you said, you botched Kang already. And he's not off the board, but that version of him has been defeated by them, right? Like,
yeah,
not necessarily defeated, but sent away, but still just like,
I mean, even when they did it the first time, when you're fighting 2014 Thanos at the end of Endgame, that even felt cheap to me at that point, because you're just like, well, the real guy's already gone, though. Like, this is just a JV.
Yeah, exactly.
Thanos, who doesn't even, this isn't
the real guy won, and he went off and
Hulk.
Sat in cornfields in Nebraska and hung out with my dad, and now his head's gone.
Yeah, and right. Headbug might be right that maybe they are just keeping him for that Herald moment with Franklin, that's when they would bring him back.
Your only other option is they reset the MCU. I guess reset's not the correct word, but semi-reboot it with Doomsday, and then there's a different version of him. But yeah, they kind of squandered him a little bit. They don't necessarily defeat him, but they don't not defeat him either, right?
Yeah,
they push him away. He's not technically defeated, but it's like, well, I don't know.
Somebody else's problem now. But
yeah, he's wrecked somebody else's life. Silver Surfer's like, she won't be dead, but she should. Like, Galactus should just cook her ass for that.
I do. I love it, dude. Yeah, it was
like, she should never make, like, that version of the Silver Surfer should be gone, because if that is how they don't win without her, so they're going to land in a different area, and the first thing he's going to do is kill her.
I could tell. I will say there are some moments where I'm sure, like, the get woke, go broke reviewers probably lost their shit at a couple of scenes, because there is a scene at the end of the movie where all three male members of the Fantastic Four can't get a car seat into the car.
Yes.
And Mom is just like sitting there laughing at him. And so I'm sure that drove a few people nuts.
Yeah, pissed them off.
Like, oh, useless men, only the women in this. But It cracked me up. You have this moment where Johnny's about to make a sacrifice, and he's like, tell Franklin his Uncle Johnny loves him. And then he's about to go, and he gets fucking like Rose in a Star Wars sequel. He just gets off course.
Yep.
Silver Surfer's like, nah, I'm gonna make this sacrifice play. And then she goes full bore and just like boops Galactus in the nose and sends him back. But in that moment, I could hear Frenchie from The Boys say, oh, girls really get it done, huh? I was just like, God damn it, dude. Like, I don't hate it, but do you have to do
shit.
Johnny like that? Yeah, that's what I'm
Give
saying.
him the moment.
Fantastic Four. This is why I used the word that I used. All right, they kind of, like she's like, "Oh, Johnny, you just sit in that chair over there in the corner. I'll take care of this."
They really do. They don't. They just kind of get nothing accomplished.
It's just like, oh, cool. Oh my God, the Fantastic Four, Nick Carraway in this movie. They're just there to tell you a story about the great Galactus and all of his swinger moonshine parties.
Last thing, Kev, I had to get your thoughts on, or the lack there. I guess I would say on, but your thoughts on him. But he's not in the movie at all. The lack thereof. We get 2 Doctor Doom references. I guess we get a Doctor Doom reference and a Latveria reference. When they're at I think it's a United Nations meeting early in the movie, there are 2 seats. Maybe it's just a single seat, if I can't remember exactly, of the nation of Latveria empty. And then in the mid-credits scene, we get our first look at Doctor Doom. Obviously, it's not Robert Downey Jr. It's a fill-in, and you see the costume and you see the mask, and he's looking over Franklin Richards. So I guess I want to get your take on those and the lack of their main nemesis in this movie. Did you think it was odd? Did you like it, or what are your thoughts on it?
The mid-credit scene was interesting because Franklin is also touching his face, and now that we know that Franklin's a Jedi and he can do force healing,
did he
perhaps
just Robert Downey Jr.'s face?
Yeah, did he just make it so that they don't have to put their highest paid actor behind a iron mask for the whole rest of the run? So maybe they will come back to this. I believe that scene was filmed by the Russo brothers. So what I think we are seeing is a little slice of a scene from an upcoming movie. And I think that whenever, who knows what Doom's task will be? Will he at first be presented as the hero who knows about this stuff and is trying to collect the most mighty from different universes to fight these incursions? Will that be sort of the guys? Like, is he going to be a Mysterio in that Spider-Man movie where it's like, oh, he's pretending to be a good guy for a while? And is that going to be the scene where he goes to try to recruit the Fantastic Four? So I could see that scene being plugged from a future movie, being straight ripped from it. Mm-hmm. As far as Doom not being there, it doesn't bother me much, if not at all. I was satisfied with the references to Latveria and just kind of knowing, okay, he's out there and we might be seeing him soon. Something they probably could have done with Galactus, if I'm being honest. Like, I don't think they needed to go to Galactus right away for Fantastic Four either.
Yes.
But I think it would have been very risky to include both of them with any sort of weight in an hour 45-minute movie or whatever the hell it was.
Yeah, I think
you didn't have enough time for what you did. You certainly don't have enough time for Doom in this movie.
Yeah, there was no time for him, right? I found it. I think that's the number one takeaway, is there just wasn't time for him. Like, they made that thing short, and enough stuff already got cut. We both have not seen the new Avengers, but apparently there's an end credits discrepancy between the new Avengers / Thunderbolts movie and this one, with the way I don't know exactly what it is, but they don't line up correctly. So shout out Marvel for not talking between projects again.
And if you did watch that, I think the movie, or if you're like me and you just looked at the post-credit scene once people started talking about it, it subverted your expectations a little bit, because knowing, as some of us did, that we saw the Fantastic Four ship at the end of the Thunderbolts, when they start talking about how Galactus is coming, in my mind, I had it set that, oh, they're going to lose their whole world, and they are going to have to decide to choose their family over whatever, and then they're going to have to hightail it into a new universe, and that's going to be the family that we saw at the end of new Thunderbolts, whatever the hell it's called. And so, no, the way it ends,
I didn't see that end credit scene, so I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, it tells us either that's completely, and it was the same ship, so either it's a completely different version from a different universe, or they just haven't gotten there yet. and this will be something that happens between the end of this movie and by the time we start doing the Avengers stuff. They will explain that somehow. So I don't see it as much as it not. I don't see that as a plot hole or a continuity
just
error.
currently doesn't make sense. Like we're just missing pieces. Okay.
I think it's just
I've seen it read like
leaving,
it was as a continuity error is what I've seen. And again, I haven't seen that post-credit scene. I forgot to watch it beforehand.
And I should know better, to be fair. All cards on the table. This is also me giving Marvel probably more credit than they've earned.
Possibly, yeah.
In this regard.
I want to come back to your comment about the world not getting destroyed. On that to be the last topic. However, on the Doctor Doom front, I agree with you. I just don't think there's enough time. I did think it was interesting that he wasn't sitting in a chair. Like there wasn't somebody there. That could have been an easy one. So there's two ways you could take that, right? It's either in their universe, he either has not declared or doesn't exist yet, or there's a war over who the real leader is, or he just doesn't exist. And the other thought is that the Doctor Doom you see in the mid-credit scene could very well be from a different world, different universe. Is the full-powered version, and is coming there to find Franklin. So that there's a couple of ways you can view what's going on there.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think a potential third, and honestly, the way that I took it, that's kind of why I'm throwing it out there, see what you guys think. But it could be possible. So broad strokes, Doom's story is that he's a dictator who replaced a really horrible dictator. So even though he's kind of a bad guy, kind of Black Adam-y as well with Kahndaq, where it's like sometimes if there's a big enough evil out there, he will side with good. But maybe I kind of took it as potentially Doom is already in charge of Latveria and he doesn't recognize the power of the Future Foundation, where he's just like, look, Latveria is thriving under me. I'm in charge. You do what you want. We'll take no part in it. Because I could see
that makes sense.
Diplomatic Richards family keeping a chair for him should he ever change his mind. But I also like the idea of what you said, that perhaps Doom isn't, he doesn't have to be from this universe. It could very well be the guy who we've theorized could be hopping around. Maybe he's doing his own Nick Fury shit right now, trying to collect, or the Watcher. He's trying to collect some people. Who knows? Is Doom a bad guy at the beginning? Will he turn that way after we've seen
in the comics? Really more. Isn't he the Reed Richards' best friend?
No, like sworn enemy.
Sworn enemy. Okay, I thought he went from like best friend to sworn enemy.
They were like
rivals.
Exactly.
Okay.
Like, it's sort of like a light Yagami and L thing from Death Note, where there are a lot of stories. They'll be like in the same college, and one of them can figure out. Normally, Reed will figure something out that Doom couldn't quite figure out, and a lot of the stories, Doom is in love with Sue, and it becomes a thing. Honestly, Doom has a lot of Lex Luthor in him, in that idea that for a man so smart, he gets real short-sighted and does some stupid emotional things due to his rivalry. So yeah, he story-wise, Ben Grimm is Reed's best friend. They were like college roommates and stuff. But yeah, Doom, they have this frenemies situation. 98% of the time they hate each other. When they work together, they're unstoppable. And at one point they swapped brains. So that one was cool.
Well, that's how they're going to make him. They're going to make Iron Man, the dead Iron Man, switch. Last thing. I think we both expected this world to get destroyed.
Yeah.
Doom was like Harry Osborn and Spider-Man. Got it.
There you go.
We expected this world to get destroyed and that they were going to have to leave, and that's how they were going to get to the main MCU. So they didn't. That did not happen. Doom's not been introduced. Like, we got a lot of leftover. Like, we got a lot of loose ends not tied up to get to Doomsday. What is your take? How do they get there? I guess it's going to be incursions, right? Worlds colliding, and then all of a sudden they're there. Is that it? Like,
yeah, I don't know. And I will say, I'm currently happy that I don't know. Part of me is worried that they just don't have a plan, because I have a hard time believing that lessons have been learned and people are applying new tactics. But this film, like I said at the beginning, despite not being a home run for me, I want to celebrate the fact that it went to great lengths to not be the exact same Marvel movie we've seen 100 times. And like the idea that they committed to, okay, Fantastic Four in space, that's great, because like we really didn't need another New York City superhero team. We had no need for the Fantastic Four to be dealing with earthly matters, essentially. So that stuff gives me hope that maybe they do know what they're doing, and it's just not time for us to know those pieces. But I guess to poke a hole in my own argument, there's been a big lack of consistency. It does touch on what you mentioned before with the Thunderbolts and post-credit scenes not lining up. Like, do you remember your I was about to say your beloved Spider-Man Doctor Strange movie, but it wasn't that one. It was the Multiverse of Madness, my beloved WandaVision sequel, where they acted like WandaVision never happened. He gets Charlize Theron just shows up and
at the very end,
that's a hole in the universe. They're all fighting incursions. So apparently, like, is that still happening?
It's got to be.
I believe
right?
it is,
but that man
right?
a couple years ago.
So I assume that all of these dominoes at one point will fall. Here's what I think. One of the ways, and I can't take credit for this, someone else threw this theory out online, but somebody was like, hey, by the way, speaking of post-credit stuff that at some point might have to be addressed, there's a whole arena of Kangs out somewhere in space, and
I
it could
ignore them completely.
It's been brought up that a cool way to introduce how OP Doom would be to have Doom show up at that place and just kill all the Kangs and take their power, and then you kind of get your clean slate from there.
Yeah, wipe them off the map.
Yeah, part of me hates that a lot.
Hate it, but guess what they've now developed.
Yeah.
Like Jen asks, how do they establish Doom, who the Avengers are, also the X-Men, and then orchestrate some huge battle in less than 3 hours. She's correct. The X-Men are getting left off the table for everything we've seen. The new X-Men, like the new version of them, will not come until after Doomsday. They are reusing old X-Men characters. James Marsden is filming scenes as Cyclops for Doomsday. He was talking about it last weekend.
That's the answer to Jen's question. Yeah.
Yeah, you just use the old ones, which I don't hate
what they're going to do.
Because now there's just not enough time. Like we talked about this on one of our pre-recorded weekly dweebs in the last couple of weeks about how they have this massive hammer of a franchise. They spend an insane amount of money on the X-Men, and they haven't used them outside of glorified cameos, outside of Deadpool and Wolverine, right? You got the Reed Richards, John Krasinski cameo. You got Patrick Stewart was in those. Like the Beast shows up. Mm-hmm. There's a couple just random ones, but they're not developing the new X-Men until post Doomsday. They're going to be part of this. Like, it's not a reboot, more of a reset of the universe, whatever they fucking said.
So it sounds like at least part of the answer to Jen's question here, which I'll bring up again, which you brought up,
there you go.
Is they're just not going to establish the X-Men. It sounds like they will be banking on us just remembering, and then they'll be like, here are these characters. You already know their backstory, so we don't have to address all of that. It could work. I have my fears. How many movies do we? I know we looked at the thing, but how many? We have a Spider-Man.
Yep.
Before the next Avengers movie.
Upcoming Marvel.
What else even is there to set this thing up? I think that's a good question too. Like, it might be, as Jen says, it might all have to take place in that next movie. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I shouldn't have been happy that they didn't give us more information.
Here, let's go Rotten Tomato. Or yeah, we'll just go. This is fine. Updated August 1st, 2025. Okay. Eyes of Wakanda series came out. Marvel Zombies is this fall. Wonder Man is in December. That's the TV series. Spider-Man Brand New Day is 1 year out, July 31st, 2026. Avengers Doomsday is December 18th, 2026.
Yeah. Okay. So we got nothing there. No more.
We've got
setup.
the Punisher special next year. We've got Daredevil Born Again next year. Visions next year, the series. Secret Wars is in 2027.
Dude. Did they send Galactus to the main MCU timeline? And that's going to be...
They could have. Fuck everything up.
And somebody tells Reed and he has a guilty conscience and that's why he shows up, because he's got to help them.
I don't hate that.
And then what you get is basically a part 1, part 2. And then you're not even setting up Doom. You're probably setting Doom up for those 3 hours. And then, just when they think the day is saved, then Big Bad Doom shows up and it ends on a down note. So that way, when we get part 2 of whatever the Doom Avengers thing is called, Untitled
Secret
Doom,
Wars.
Or is it Secret Wars?
Okay. It's Doomsday and Secret Wars.
Off the cuff, that's the first thing I can think of. That would
I don't
be a
hate
natural
that.
continuation from where we just came.
I do not hate that thought.
Spider-Man might have a big impact on it, though.
Jen says, I think that's it.
Yeah. I feel like it's either that or Strange's spell. Because, again, remember, I wish I could remember that comic character's name. That I think she eventually, in some continuities, ends up being Doctor Strange's wife, but she comes and I remember the actress was Charlize Theron, and she pops up and he goes off on adventures because he caused all these incursions. Yep. So they could go back to that, but I think they're just going to say that Galactus got dropped off in our front yard, and then Reed's too good of a guy to just let another planet Earth deal with his problem.
I think that's right. I don't hate that actually at all. I do kind of. At least Galactus isn't completely just fucking toast after one movie, right?
Yeah, there are ways.
Not great,
to get him
but
back. Yeah, there are ways to build him back up. I still think if your goal is to keep a villain running, they can't lose right away. It's just sort of it lowers the stakes. It I don't know. It relieves the tension when you're like, oh, this guy. If 4 people can beat him, then the Avengers can probably beat him. Not not the best stakes, not how I would set the table, but we shall see. I do love the uncertainty of it, because then we can have our own theories, and those will undoubtedly be more fun than what we get. So
100%. Like you have a little
it's
hope,
Mephisto all over.
We're now developing this more than and then we've got more development put into this than them.
Yeah, remember how satisfying it was, gang, when we finally did get Mephisto? That was all worth it, wasn't it? 2 years of my pointless speculation just flushed down the drain.
Well, he did show up finally, didn't he? Didn't he show up in the Ironheart TV series with Sacha Baron Cohen?
Oh, good. Yeah, it was Sacha Baron Cohen. Starscream right here. Good point. His ship is still an 828. Yeah, that was it. Not sure how much devouring he can do without that. That's a good point. There's an immediate plot hole in my theory.
Yeah, so your theory's already got a plot hole in it.
Because he's only the size of like 2 Statues of Liberty in this. So, he's basically a kaiju.
Yeah.
That's no problem. The Avengers deal with that like on a Thursday. They're like, oh, here we go again. Another giant bastard. Yeah, okay. So it probably won't be that then. So we've got nothing. We've got no idea.
No idea.
I do enjoy the mystery. Should have been Kang.
Any final thoughts, Kev? I'm just trying to look at possible upcoming movies that could affect. We're getting to the Avengers is so quick. Like it's here. It's next year. The Spider-Man movie probably has to have something, but it's also going to deal a lot with the fallout from his last one. So I don't know. That one. I don't know how the Spider-Man movie. He's absolutely going to be a main character in the Avengers movies. I just don't know how that movie's going to connect because they're dealing with the fallout of him. I don't want to be known by anybody. So I don't know. We're thinking too much.
Spider-Man 5. I've been doxxed on Discord. I can't wait for that.
Kang went to the Pocket Universe. Didn't end up well. The ants got him. So.
Oh, went to the Pocket Universe.
Oh, that's not a Pocket Universe. What is that? Whatever the fuck that thing was called.
The Microverse. I don't even
Microverse. Yeah. The Microverse.
Ooh, I try to block that whole movie out. No, the only I think thoughts that I haven't articulated yet, or at least not to any detail, was the cosmic side of things. I've really enjoyed some of it. I think is inevitably just being a sci-fi and a Star Wars fan.
Yeah.
But when they're trying to escape out of light speed and then the Silver Surfer, it gave me like Terminator 2 vibes, maybe
and she's trying to
she's liquid metal and she's like able to keep up with them. And then they have to figure out how to bend these lasers. And I don't know if any of that science actually holds up, just to be fair. Don't know.
No clue. None of us know, actually.
But it was cool.
Cool.
It was cool to address it. It was cool to be out there in a sci-fi movie that was trying to explain its stuff. Gave me some Interstellar vibes when they did the whole Apollo 13 slingshot around a black hole. I thought that part of the movie was very cool.
Yes.
And so those are the moments when I say that, overall, even though it wasn't the most fun I've ever had, it was things like that where I was like, okay, I am thoroughly enjoying myself in this moment. And then, it would slow down a bit or some other things would happen, but it is one of the better Marvel films that I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, it's good.
I'd still say I feel like something is missing. I think we've touched on it. I think it's somewhere within that pacing. And it's probably, I would say that there's a really, really good version of this movie that's like 2.5 hours long that we will probably never get to see. Because as Matt Shackman pointed out, at a certain point in the production, there's almost no Disney-owned IP that gets made without at least some level of CGI. Mm-hmm. So even that Malkovich stuff, we're never going to get it in a director's cut because in order for them to make that, they would have to finish rendering and actually finish the extra digital work that they don't do once they decide to cut it. So this will probably be like that Jocasta Nu scene in the Jedi library that I have just accepted as canon. And in my own head, it absolutely exists in a movie that it never made it to. Some of those deleted scenes of lore. I expect whenever those see the light of day, I think the feedback will be a resounding, this would have been so much better if the studio hadn't meddled. Those are my thoughts.
It always happens. That always happens, right? Always.
A lot of times it happens. Yeah. Especially it always happens if Disney's involved. I think we can say that.
Yeah. Well, these guys, with this, I was saying always happens specifically within the MCU.
Yes. 100%.
You can look at the DC. Anytime they get involved, it goes fucking bad. Look at Iron Man 2. Perfect example.
This kind of stuff that never happens at Warner Brothers because they really know what they're doing. They got it all figured out over there.
Absolutely not. Shout out Starscream for the sub. Hey, puts us at 179.
Let's
go.
Shout out. Appreciate
one away from 180. Shout out everybody joined us today. Star, Headbug, Jen. We appreciate each and every one of you. Appreciate you guys checking out the new style of the Weekly Dweeb. We may have one topic this week. I've got one on deck for Kev. We haven't talked about it yet. Check us out Wednesday live, 9 p.m. Eastern. We are watching Revenge of the Sith. I was like, what movie are we watching? We are watching and retrospecting, reviewing Revenge of the Sith. It's less of a review and more of a fun facts discussion about it. Come join us. Headbug, get some sleep overseas. Kev, outside of that, where can they find you at?
Oh, make sure you're tuned into the Clout Route tomorrow night, right about this same time. Danny and I will be chatting it up. Other than that, Carnage Media, shout out.
Yep.
August 23rd is our next event, Carnage Fight Series 3. Really excited about it. Free fights coming up every night on the YouTube channel, really. So I'm very excited about Carnage Media PPV, but make sure those notifications are on. Like James said, different format for the show. So we did have a live this Monday. So I don't know if we'll have daily segments like we've had the last couple of weeks, but generally speaking, you'll be getting a new upload from us daily throughout the week with the full live show coming on Friday. And I am very excited for some of the other stuff we've been working on.
Hell yeah.
And so make sure those noties are on, because there may be some bonus material in there, the scheduled outside of our Monday through Friday. But that is all I will say for now. James, what about you, sir?
Just keep those notifications on. Sticking right here. Posting all our content here. Appreciate you guys. Please check us out. Like, subscribe, share us, get us to 180. And with that, Kev, I haven't had to do a live ending since last week. I don't know what to do here.
Where are the buttons?
I had to find the buttons. Till next time, folks.